and welcome to the 5th episode of the Good Anime Palette podcast. I am, of course, your co-host, Jason, and I'm joined, as always, as usual, with Will. What's up, dude?
God damn, it's hot today. It's so hot.
Is this not, like, what was it, like 20-something degrees?
Celsius as well.
Yeah.
Not Fahrenheit.
Not Fahrenheit, if it'll be like 90-something.
But I think, like, if you don't live in Hong Kong, I know that the majority of people who listen to this podcast are in Hong Kong. But
It's like half and half, right?
Now it is. But for those who are outside of Hong Kong, like, 25 degrees Celsius, which is around 70-ish Fahrenheit, 70, 75, which is actually quite comfortable. The issue is that Hong Kong is very humid. So when you go outside, you're immediately you're not sweating. It's just the moisture from outside that just sticks onto your skin. It just feels insanely uncomfortable.
It is insanely uncomfortable. I was saying to my parents the other day, I was like, hey, this is not Singapore. This should not be happening. It's like springtime, not summertime.
Oh, you can already imagine how much worse it is in Singapore, because Singapore, the weather is like, they have 4 seasons. Which is summer, and summer with rain.
Oh, summer with rain. Oh, yeah. God.
So, like, it's really... That's why there's so many malls in Singapore. I spent most of my time there in a mall, because you just need to...
I mean, I remember Bangkok is the same thing.
Bangkok, yes. The issue with Bangkok, though, is that, like, when you do have nice days, it gets followed by, like, 3 days straight of heavy rain. And then it gets hot again. And because it's been raining for so long, it just gets so humid. So it's like... It's good and also extremely terrible afterwards.
I mean, you do know that, like, it's a weather phenomenon that after, like, a long period of nothing but sunshine, it will inevitably rain.
The times when I've gone to Bangkok, or just Thailand in general, I'd say, like, 3 out of 5 times, like, half the trip was just covered in rain.
Okay.
I mean, I say that.
You need that weathering with you, girl.
Well, I was going to say, actually... Well, first of all, I haven't watched the movie.
Yeah, but you know what's it about.
I know it's about. But what I was going to say was that, like, talking about all this travel and shit, it's like, I haven't been on a plane in over 2 years.
I'm so glad I'm not on a plane ever.
Yeah, we're complete opposites. I love traveling.
And I hate
you rather stay at home.
I'm staying at home.
Yeah, but what would happen if we were to go to the land of anime, dude? If we ever go to Japan?
So the ultimate comfort for me is it's raining outside, it's slightly cold, and I'm under my covers watching anime.
Yeah, mine is loading up a couple episodes of anime whilst watching it on a plane ride heading to Japan. So when I get there, to be fair, actually when I get to Japan, I don't really watch anime. I don't need to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's like it just feels kind of weird. Like, oh, I'm gonna go all the way to Japan just to watch anime. No, I'm just gonna go there to buy manga, to eat ramen, to get good sushi, and maybe pick up some
video games. I picked up a lot of video games in Akihabara.
I did too.
I remember the Dreamcast.
Actually, my Game Boys. I bought all of them when I was in Japan. I also bought the first Pokemon game I got was Pokemon Yellow.
What? You didn't play Red, Green, Blue?
No, I actually played Pokemon Yellow first.
I played
Red
Red
afterwards.
First.
But then, and then afterwards, when I was at EB Games, which is like the Canadian version of GameStop, where
also the American version. Oh no, the EB Games.
Is there EB in America as well?
Well, essentially, EB and GameStop is the same company.
Yeah, so it's like Hardee's and Carl's Jr. Where like it's known as Hardee's in the Midwest and Carl's Jr. everywhere else in the U.S.
Okay, yeah,
yeah. So yeah, basically, like that's where I picked up my first copy of Pokemon Red.
All right.
In English. So I played the Japanese version of Pokemon for the longest time, and I just basically whiffed everything. I managed to beat it.
I played Final Fantasy VII first.
In Japanese?
It took me forever to find out how to save. So I played the first mission over and over and over again, and I was like, how is this possible to play this game for that long? And I left, like, my PlayStation on. And then I, like, what are these, like, little, like, glowing, symbols on like every so often, and then I went on it and it did nothing because technically you had to go into the character menu to press save, which is on the bottom, but because I can't read katakana or hiragana, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. When I found out, my mind exploded.
The struggles of localization for video games, very much an issue back in those times with the localization of anime and manga, right?
Yeah, and now it's less of an issue, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, like for the first half of my life, when it came to reading and watching anime and manga, like it was all in Chinese, or it was Japanese with Chinese subtitles.
Or Chinese dubbed.
Yeah, yes, Chinese dubbed for sure. whether it was like Pokemon or Doraemon,
Dragon Ball for
Dragon
me.
Ball as well. I for the longest time, like Doraemon, I thought it was a Chinese thing.
Yeah. Also, it wasn't called Doraemon. It was called Ding Dong,
Ding
right?
Dong,
Which
yeah,
is
yeah.
like a doorbell.
Yeah.
But back then, like that's what I thought it
Literally
meant.
because he has a bell in his neck.
Yeah, it was.
That's
and
it.
its little sister is called
What was his name again?
Ding Ding.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Like literally bell sounds. I'm not even joking. This is real.
But I actually have never watched an episode of Doraemon in Japanese.
Okay.
I've only ever watched them in Cantonese.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we went on for like 6 minutes about nostalgia.
Yeah, but hey, I mean, like we were once kids, right? We've had childhoods.
And anime and manga has grown over the years.
Yeah, I think like what we've consumed before, whether we took it at like, a casual level or it was just something that was on the TV, like it managed to sort of manifest in us and grow into something that's, has been more a part of our lives in the past 5-10 years. For me, it's about 5-10 years.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll get into that like hardcore later on in the main discussion topic.
But no, we'll maintain the hardcore because I believe one of us has been very hardcore when it comes to the reading and watching of anime and manga, Mr. Jason.
Hey, Will. What have you been watching and reading recently?
So since my whole spiel about reading Domestic Girlfriend and Scum's Wish, I've actually been taking a bit of a sabbatical. I haven't really been reading or watching a lot of stuff. It's because of the fact that I spent quite a bit of time building a computer. I actually spent a lot of time going around, getting parts, meeting up with a few friends, trying to help me to make sure my computer booted, and that it's up and running. I'm exploring the world of computer games.
I've
watched one episode of Be the Beginning, second season, if you're asking what I've been reading or watching.
Before you get into Be the Beginning, I'm just going to say this on behalf of a mutual friend of ours. So when are you going to play those visual novels, now that you have a PC?
I actually do have the Steins Gate visual novel saved on my wish list on Steam. So...
Hey, that's one step closer than not being on your wish list.
I mean, it made sense for me to do it because I've already watched all of the anime along with season 0. So
yeah.
I guess the natural progression is just to play the whole visual novel too, right? Because they have a new one coming up this year or next year. There's also like a lot of other visual novels that fall under the science universe, like
it's
visual
like
novels.
I think there's one called like Chaos
Head or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Okay, so
Robot Notes or something.
So how's Be the Beginning? So you watched the first season, right?
Yeah, dude. Like I was so excited when it hit Netflix. I just cracked that shit open, and then I stopped halfway through because I realized why I was not excited about finishing it in the first place. I looked back on my Mal score and I saw that I gave it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was one of those shows where it's like it's kind of like a detective mystery thriller supernatural kind of show. There's a lot of genres thrown onto it. You're like, this just sounds like a mess. Like, why would you need to have supernatural crime detectives and like all these fucking like weird thriller things? Like, it was. I kind of enjoyed it, but like I gave it like a
middling score.
I gave it a 7 just to be a little more harsh on it because I was watching other stuff that was better at the time, and I thought, okay, well, why not give it a benefit of the doubt? Like I've managed to finish like the first season. There's only 6 episodes of the second season that's on Netflix.
How long was the first season?
I think it was either 10 or 12 episodes.
Okay, so roughly one cur.
Roughly a cur.
And
this one's a half cur season.
It's a Netflix.
An ONA, yeah, original net animation.
Yes, so it's only on Netflix.
Yep.
What is it about? I know you told me it before, but
It's just about this old fucking detective that is super smart and knows how to solve crimes, but he's also crazy. So therefore, like people kind of keep him out of cases because usually bad shit happens around him. But then all of a sudden, like ghouls and monsters start showing up, and humans can transform into ghouls. And it turns out that one of the protagonists is actually a ghoul. This is not Tokyo Ghoul, by the way.
I was going to say that sounds like Tokyo Ghoul to me.
And then they solve mysteries and they fight shit. It's a clusterfuck of.
Does
everything.
the detective have one eye that is a different color than the other? Like, was it head to?
No, he's got lifeless eyes though, very lifeless eyes, hid behind a pair of glasses, kind of like your eyes actually. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm dead inside. I get it.
Yeah, but that's why you read all this fluffy shit to make yourself feel human, right?
I want to feel stuff, man.
So I wouldn't recommend anybody watch it. It was only down to
Jesus, that's harsh as fuck.
Okay, go ahead and watch the first season, or see how much of the first season you can get through first. I went through all of it. I think it was just at the time there wasn't all that much to watch on Netflix. I think it was either that or Violet Evergarden. I already finished Violet Evergarden.
You can rewatch Violet Evergarden.
True, but I don't want to cry again. So
I cried so. I cried like maybe 2-3 times.
oh, then you should watch Anohana, so you can cry 11 times.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, sure.
I cried almost every episode.
So, Be the Beginning. It's on
Yeah,
Netflix. First and second season. Your recommendation is?
Watch it if you literally have nothing else to watch.
Glowing recommendation,
And
ladies
even
and gentlemen.
then, if you have nothing to watch, I would recommend you re-watch something you have watched before. Go watch, I don't know, go watch Naruto again. Go watch,
Bleach.
yeah, no.
Hey, the new arc is coming out, so you might as well.
So,
Yeah.
I stopped at the Aizen arc. I have no idea what happens afterwards.
We talked about this every single
You know?
time. Yeah.
I read the Quincy arc in the manga for some reason, and then I dropped it after that. Not the Quincy, the Hollow arc.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. So, that's all you've been watching and reading?
Yes.
All right, okay. My go. I watched and read.
If you can't get enough of Jason's smooth, silky, sultry voice, now is the time to listen to another half hour of what the fuck have I been watching?
Because, Overkill is... I think I've said this like multiple times, that Overkill is my
your
middle name.
Yeah.
And, yeah, okay, so... Should we start with the
Let's start with
backlog or the seasonal stuff first? What do you...
I was just gonna say, just group it all together. So, like, what you've been watching, and then what have you been reading?
Right, but I need to start somewhere with the watching.
Why don't you start with seasonals then?
Okay, so new season incoming, isn't that true, Will?
Yeah, that's why like me slacking is bad, because that just means I have more shit to catch up on, and once I do get caught up, I'm still behind. So
My Hero Academia 5th season, Will and I were supposed to watch it a couple of days ago, and Will was rightfully so busy with work, so that's completely understandable. And to be honest, even though I haven't seen the episode because I was going to wait for Will, it's the 5th season, so at that point, if you had any doubts, you have to either start at season 1, or at that point, you know what's it about, or you don't care, or you care enough that you're going to watch it anyways, regardless of who recommends it or not. So,
yeah. To be fair with My Hero Academia, like every season I binged, so I just waited for each season to finish and then just crushed it.
So you're going to have to wait 20-something weeks.
Which is what I did for season 4. Now, season 5, I don't know. Season 4 ended on a kind of like big cliffhanger in the sense of what the future of. Well, actually, I shouldn't say anything because it'd be spoilers.
Yeah.
But it's. I'm excited enough to maybe break that trend and actually watch it episode to episode.
Yeah, because we're going to watch it together, so you're going to break that trend anyways.
Or you can just wait 24 episodes. That's half a year.
I mean, let's talk about this off air, please.
Oh, actually, no, there is something I did watch, and I watched it with you, which is Jujutsu Kaisen. We finally finished that.
Yeah, we finished it. It was great. It was fucking awesome.
Fantastic. So, they haven't announced season 2 yet, right? In terms of like when it will come, or even make an announcement. We know what will happen.
Yeah, I know what will happen, man. I think it's because there's too much on Mappa's plate, so then they're just like...
Do you think it's because they're busy with
Chainsaw Man?
Oh, also AOT, because they also announced when the second half of the 4th season is going to come out.
Did you actually watch the last episode?
I haven't watched anything.
Wait, has it aired? The last episode? Or is it tomorrow?
Everything is out.
Oh, so everything is out.
Everything is out, but I just saw on Anime News Network that they have announced that part 2 of the final season is going to come out later. Fall of 2021. Yeah, so in 6 months' time.
So basically, like season 3, part 1 and 2.
Yeah. So we kind of expected that, right? Like, especially you haven't like read mostly up to date. Like you knew that within I think it was 16 episodes.
So yeah,
they were never going to fit
part
it
1.
all.
So I am actually just only a little bit past what I'm assuming is the end of part 1. I don't know because I haven't watched it. I've only read, but I can.
Based on what I've told you about what
yes,
I watched.
I do know where roughly the timeline it is, and I have read at least a little bit past Will's consumption, and also there's at one point where I can see that being the ending of part 1. At least that's my guess. Whether or not that's the case, I'll have to verify it some way, one way or the other. But that's it. So
yeah, that's probably why we won't be seeing a announcement. Well, we will see an announcement, but we won't be seeing Jujutsu Kaisen anytime soon because they just concluded the first season. It'll probably come out next year, and in between that point, you'll have Chainsaw Man and the final part of the final season of Attack on Titan coming out. So Mappa's busy.
Yep. So in terms of this new season, which is the spring season, other than My Hero Academia season 5, which we have yet to watch at all, there are 2 other, I guess, non-sequel anime that I have consumed. And I will talk about both of them. Let's start with the one that I feel less strongly about, which is called Yoran, the Princess of Snow and Blood. What's it about? It's on Crunchyroll. The show is about essentially in the Edo, is it called Edo period? Like the ones with like shoguns and samurais and was it not concubines, but like
shogunates and I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so it's about that era, and then it's about one shogun basically dominating the country for a long period of time. Shogun being like, was it the military emperor or the emperor, basically, right?
Essentially the emperor, yeah.
Right, and then the reason why he is so dominant is because he has a monopoly over this resource. Now, this is going to sound crazy, Will, but bear with me. Basically, it's set in that era, but this resource has propelled parts of technology to the point where it is kind of absurd. And Yoran, which is the heroine of the story, works within a secret organization that tries to make sure that the shogun is in power and defeat the revolutionists that are trying to murder or foil the shogun's presence and power, or to murder the shogun himself. And then there's like Western people that are in Japan because that makes sense during that time. So there's like in episode 1, which I only saw 1 episode because that's all that come out yet. There was like a ball, like a Western, dance ball, and there were like diplomats and stuff. But here's the part that gets kind of crazy, which is, so there's like cars, right? Like the steam, is it like the old cars with like the large ass wheels?
Yeah.
So it's like one step up from like carriages, but it looks like mechanical carriages, right? What is there like a technical term for that?
No, but I can imagine what you're saying.
Anyways, there are lightsabers, and there are double O 007 types of weird gadgets and intricacies. And then it just so happens that your main heroine, your main heroine is called the Princess of Snow and Blood, is because there's also a disease that's been infecting everyone throughout like the country, and you turn into monsters. Like, it's almost like Giabate, but I whatever. Anyways, the main heroine, Yoran, has some sort of like supernatural mystical power and murders people or murder monsters.
Sounds exciting.
It sounds it's so generic.
Yeah.
Like so generic.
Yeah, but dude, like generic doesn't have to be like bad.
Oh,
right?
geisha, like the concubine. Geisha, that's
okay.
the word that I was thinking of. But yeah, maybe I'll watch another 2 episodes, so it's like the 3-episode rule. It's just like whatever, to be honest, at this point.
I mean, you have your own sort of, it's up to you really whether you want to stick with the 3 episode rule, or if 1 episode's enough and you'd rather just focus on other things. Because there's a lot of stuff to watch.
Yeah, I know. Oh, look, I'll see, okay?
Yeah.
But the other one I'm definitely going to stick with is another anime called Mars Red.
Okay, you did mention to me about Mars Red.
So Mars Red streams on Funimation, and it is an anime that is actually based off of a stage play of all things. And it is extremely interesting because the stage play voice actors and actresses are also the voice actors and actresses of the anime, or at least a portion of them
Some
are.
of them. I remember looking up on the cast list, and I think at least 2 of them have done both the stage play and are also voicing this anime.
So what is it about? It's also like takes place in the 1920s, 1930s, that era. So almost like kind of like the same technological advancement of what would be Euron, even though it's weird. And then it's like colonization times and stuff like that. And then it's about this the army having a secret division of fighters, I guess, like cadets, something like that. And their objective is to fight vampires that have ravaged the country. And it just so happens that the leader of this company is like, hey, let's fight fire with fire and have it be about vampires killing their own kind. Now, that sounds generic as fuck, to be honest. When I were to tell anybody this, the first season, I only saw one episode because that's all it came out. It's goddamn gorgeous.
Who's the studio behind it?
Okay, so let me see. The studio behind that is Signal MD.
Oh, what?
Yeah, dude.
They're just some random generic run-of-the-mill studio.
Yeah, I guess all they're known for, their main thing that they're known for is recovery of an MMO junkie, which I've watched and I thought was okay. But how do I put this? They do in Mars Red, they widescreen it. They have letterboxing. It almost looked like a film composition, like the cinematography of it is like really empty, but empty in a way it's hauntingly beautiful. The music is outstanding. And I don't know how to explain it because this one episode has a lot of like symbolism, a lot of silence actually, and like not talking. And then it goes in weird, interesting places. So the first episode, not spoilery, is about, funny enough, a stage play where an actress gets fatally injured only to recover completely 4 to 5 hours later, and then she gets detained in like some prison facility specifically for vampires. And the main character being the colonial what's the military rank?
It's COLONEL, right? It's
Yeah.
pronounced Colonel.
Colonel, fuck. Yeah. I'm like really bad with names today. Colonel. And then him dealing with it.
Mm.
I don't know if you can watch it as a standalone thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. Like, this is not to cut you off, but this sounds very generic.
Okay,
but like
we will watch the first
Right.
episode together, and I'm very, very interested to see what you think.
All right, yeah, convince me.
And the anime will convince you. Whether or not they succeed is a different thing. I'm not going to convince you. Okay, so those are the two seasonal stuff that I've watched.
And that's only what is out right now, right?
Yes.
There's probably been more stuff out since, and will be in the next week or two. And then your watch list is, oh boy.
So there was a bunch of announcements for certain renewals of TV anime.
Yeah.
And one of them is a second season of an anime that I have watched but not finished. So then I finished the anime. It was on Crunchyroll, and it is called Science Fell in Love, So I Tried to Prove It.
I remember this one.
The announcement of the second season was like a week ago, something like that. And then I was like 6 episodes of the 12, and then I was just like, I'll just finish it. So what is this Science Fell in Love, So I Tried to Prove It plot synopsis? It's essentially about a bunch of research scientists at a university, and the two, I guess, senpai are kind of in love with each other, but they're not sure. So they're like, well, we're scientists, we're researchers. Why don't we put this theory to the test and use statistics and science experimentation to try to prove that whether or not we are actually in love or not. And it's pretty cute, pretty wholesome, and there's a second season, so I want to see how it goes. It's above average anime. I would give it like anything between a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Like is like 3.5 stars out of 5 stars. It's pretty good. But Will, I found the holy grail of fluffiness.
Oh, here we go. Okay, all right. Go ahead. What is it? What's What's blowing up the fluff meter for you?
Oh, actually, wait. Okay, yeah, I talked about it, so I have to let it out now. So, there's an anime called As Miss Beelzebub Likes. It is based on a manga. And what is it about? It's about demons and angels. Specifically, it's about heaven and the underworld. And Beelzebub is a name of a prince of hell. But it just so happens that it's a woman in the anime. And unlike popular convention of heaven and hell fighting one another and being on polar opposites, in this world, hell is not necessarily a bad thing. Like they call it the underworld. They call it pandemonium. But it's not necessarily a bad thing as much as the I guess the negative force. Because it's not evil, they use their temptation to test people, not necessarily to make sure they fail, but actually to make sure they succeed so then they can go to heaven and judge them accordingly. It just so happens that Beelzebub is the head of the underworld, and she's a woman, and then she has this almost like ruthless, cold exterior. And then it just so happens that she has a new head assistant, which is like a butler / like caretaker and secretary. And then it talks about him finding out that Beelzebub and a bunch of the other generals or princes and princesses of hell are super into fluffy things. Like literally about fluffy things. Like there's like this creature in the anime called an angel hair puff, which is literally a ball of fur that goes pew, pew, and jumps up and down. They talk about like eating pudding and how that is like the sound effect. The sound director of this deserves an award because it is the most fluffy, sound-inducing anime I've consumed in my entire life. I think the anime is pretty good. It's 8 out of 10, 4 stars. So you're thinking like, Jason, wouldn't you give it 9 out of 10? Because it's not like exceptional. But what it does in terms of comfort, fluffiness, is so good. If you were to have a drinking game where every time you hear a cute / fluffy sound effect you drink, you will die of alcohol poisoning. It's also based on a manga, as I said. I read 10 volumes of the manga. There is 12 volumes from beginning to end. The 11th volume is out, and I think the 12th and final volume will be out later on in the year. So yeah, it's hella cute, hella good. Will hasn't said anything in so long, and he's just giving me all these faces. He's putting his hand on his face, like I can't believe
I'm not watching this.
It is so fluffy.
That's cool. You have all the fluff. Take it and go. I'm not subscribing to that. I'm sure there are people who would enjoy this shit. I'm not one of them. Give me My Domestic Girlfriend and Scum's Wish. I'd rather watch that shit instead of fluff. I know they're completely two different categories because one is good and the other one is fluff. I'm not talking shit about your taste. It's just not mine.
So the last anime that I consumed. Okay, so I guess we're done with that. As Miss Beelzebub likes, because you don't want any part of this.
I do not care.
Okay.
At all about it.
You might care about the mystery anime that I consumed.
Okay, go for it. I'm not going to pull any guesses as we've been doing.
It's a light novel, based on a light novel. There is a manga adaptation.
Oh my god, have you been watching ReZero?
No. I did watch some of the first season, but that was ages ago.
It's Nisekai.
Not really, kinda. It's hard to explain.
Okay.
There's a long-ass title, but I know that doesn't help. It is The Misfit of Demon King Academy. History's strongest demon king reincarnates and goes to school with his descendants.
Also known as Misfit of a Demon King.
Academy, yes.
Yeah.
Misfit of Demon King Academy. There is only one season that is out. I think there's 12 or 13 episodes. A second season was announced right after the first season. and the first season aired last year.
You watched it on Netflix? It's on Netflix Hong Kong, I think. You may have taken it off. Or it's one of those like other magical shows. I mean, like every now and then there'll be like Railgun. There's Magical Index. There's another like minwbu Magical Academy. There's another. Like,
I think I watched it on Crunchyroll. I'm not entirely sure because I watched it like not like recently. I watched it like a week ago.
Okay.
So like I was too consumed by Miss Beelzebub likes, but I did watch Misfit of Demon King Academy. So
okay. Good. How was it? What did you like? What did you not like about it?
Before I get into how I feel about it, I need to let everyone know about another anime series that is kind of like an isekai as well, based off of a light novel as well. And there is actually 3 seasons of it. It is called Overlord. And Overlord is just stupid and trashy. And just like the CG is terrible. The 3D CG is terrible. The art is all right. And it's just about like an overpowered OP protagonist that dominates the world, but it comes from like a villain standpoint. I love Overlord. Misfit of Demon King Academy is goddamn stupid. It is illogical. The 3D CG is so shit. The Demon King does stuff that makes no sense, but somehow it works in like the lore of the universe. It is so goddamn stupid. I love it to bits.
You finished it or like partway through?
So I am partway through. I am about halfway through. It's dumb. But what I can tell you for a fact is the pacing is so fast. Because, okay, I read the manga, some of it, just to compare. The manga first volume, which is out, I think, last week or the week before. So it just so happens. In fact, that's why I watched it. Because I was like, oh, the manga version came out. Oh, right. This aired last year, and I heard it was trashy but good. Maybe I should, watch it. The first volume is done with the first episode. One volume per episode. Almost.
This is almost like this is worse than High Rise Invasion.
Yeah, dog.
Because High Rise is like what 12 pages of a chapter. This one is like
okay.
One volume is pretty much 200 plus pages.
Yes. So what is Misfit of a Demon King Academy about? You heard the title. So based off of the title, which I will repeat again for everyone that's listening, the Misfit of Demon King Academy, as in the punctuation, history's strongest demon king reincarnates and goes to school with his descendants. Literally, that is what it's about. Nothing else. That is literally what's it about.
All right, we're good. Done. Move on to the next thing. What else is there to say then? If it's like that's just what it is, and then like one volume is an episode. It's what's the catch? Like why should people watch it if it's just dumb?
Because it is such a good guilty pleasure.
Okay.
I will spoil something that happens in the first episode.
Right.
And in the first chapter of the manga. There is all these demons who are there's this demon school that basically tries to find the reincarnation of the Demon King, which our protagonist is the actual Demon King. But they don't know that. No one knows that. No one believes him. And why would he? So then he goes to school, to this examination to get into the school along with like a cohort of people that may or may not be the Demon King candidate, but in real life they're not because the main character is actually the reincarnation of himself. So then they battle. Like there's like an arena. There's a tournament arc in like the first episode, but there's only one battle because they only show the main character fighting this one person. The main character, who is, by the way, the reincarnation of the Demon King of himself, goes to his opponent, snaps his fingers, and the dude dies. And then he casts a spell which ends up being resurrection. Resurrects the person, and then murders him again. resurrects him, murders him again. And it's like bloody. And then, as he was doing this sequence of events repeated, he says to the guy, hey, I heard that there's a theory that when you kill someone and resurrect them, they are not actually the same person, but actually the experiences, thoughts, memories, and feelings of that person, but a completely new person. What do you think, opponent? Let's test that theory. That is the first episode.
This sounds really stupid.
It is so stupid. It is so dumb.
I think you really have to try and enjoy it, but it seems like it's got you.
It's got me good. It's so dumb, man.
Okay, all right. So that's it then. That's all you've watched.
Yeah.
Okay. Now then, let's get ready for the next hour where we talk about the stuff that Jason has been reading.
No, it's not going to take 1 hour.
Okay.
I'll just
59 minutes.
Okay, 59 minutes. Okay.
One of them I know because I put you on that shit.
Okay. So let's start with that one. There is an old comic book series.
1995.
Yes. Called Blame.
Exclamation mark.
Blame with 1 exclamation mark. It is a dystopian kind of cyberpunk future where you follow a main character called Killy or Krill, depending on which translation you look at, because apparently it got translated multiple times by multiple companies. So
the one you're reading is the Master Edition.
that is correct. There is only 6 Master editions, but there is 10 volumes of the original manga. So there's like different versions that came out, but the one that I bought was the Master version.
So it's like an omnibuy?
That's correct. Split into 6. And the mangaka, which I forgot his name, he is an architect by trade or studies architecture. And
that explains a lot of things.
Yes. Some of the geographical landscapes and structures of this dystopian future is phenomenal. I texted Will like just images, and he texted me images too, of 2-page spreads of the manga. It is gorgeous. Now, I know a lot of people, it's a cult favorite. And the reason why is that there's not a lot of dialogue. In fact, there's so little dialogue that there are actual chapters where it's just no dialogue. It's just art and 2-page spreads.
And appreciation.
I
mean, you told me that you, out of the 6 Master Edition like volumes, that you pretty much finished it. Like
within 7 hours, I finished it from beginning to end.
You told me in the morning you were watching it, reading it, and then by the time I got off work, you're like, I'm done.
Yeah, that's correct. It took me 7 hours. Less than 7 hours.
In one sitting?
I mean, I laid on my bed.
You had the bathroom break.
And the bathroom break.
Had some lunch.
I had some lunch. I did all those things, yeah.
You didn't just sit there 7 hours, just...
No.
Okay.
10 out of 10, 5 stars. I can't believe I did not read this any sooner. There will be haters out there. You can all...
Oh, but the haters are probably the ones who watched the movie.
So, okay, here's the thing. There is an anime adaptation, but there are multiple anime adaptations. To my knowledge, there is a very, very old anime adaptation that came out in the early 2000s that were just completely shat on, based off of my anime list, the score. Also, there's no way for me to find it. I can't find it because I guess it's like that old. The manga, because they re-released it into the omnibus and stuff, so that it's available. But I can't find the old anime. But I have yet to watch the Netflix movie called Blame that is based off of the manga series.
The 3D CG anime film.
Yes.
Done by Polygon Pictures.
Yes.
The people who also did Ajin Demihuman.
Yes.
Which is one of my personal cult favorites.
So I will report back whether or not the movie is even like good.
Oh man, it can't shine. It can't shine its own light. I think like we talked about this too, because like I know a fair amount of people who have watched it, and I watched like a couple minutes of the movie myself.
It's the actual Netflix movie, not the TV series.
Movie. So I watched a bit of it, and I think it's kind of like the discussion we had about like Berserk and an adaptation, in that the scale and intricacy that goes into developing the art for Blame in like a manga format just would not be able to translate well into a 3D CG kind of environment. It just doesn't work.
Right.
You don't get the same kind of like hollow emptiness from looking at like the fast scaled architecture from the two panels.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're watching it from CG, I think the issue is like reading something static compared to watching something like smooth. It's two different ways of appreciating something. I like reading certain manga. It's like for me, like I've read and watched both like what was it called again? Yeah, I've watched I read and watched Kengan and Ashura, right? I appreciated like the stills they had in terms of like the fights, but I also liked it when they animated it. But that's because it's just two people fighting in an arena. What you're talking about here is it's like Dead Space, grim, gritty architecture set in space, and it's a fucking massive landscape. But then you were to translate that into a film, like a 16:9 aspect ratio, it just doesn't translate well. Like you don't get the same kind of grittiness. It looks too clean.
Yes. Grittiness does add a lot of, I guess, atmosphere and flavor in the manga.
Yeah,
and the
because
fact
it's
that
black and white, you show dark emptiness much better than.
And the action is
HD.
actually surprisingly legible, despite the fact that it's like messy but clear. I like the art is messy but clear.
Can we talk about the other monsters though in Blame? God damn, like the necromorph looking motherfuckers.
Necromorphs being from a video game series that both you and I adore called Dead Space. Yes,
well, I think you like it more than I do. I like it enough.
I love Dead Space.
Cool. Yeah.
So your boy Jason and Polygon Pictures, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna watch Blame because I learned my lesson with Knights of Sidonia, which is another property done by the same mangaka. And just so happens that Polygon Pictures has, I think, 2 or 3 seasons and several movies worth of this anime, Knights of Sidonia. I read Knights of Sidonia, not all of it, but some of it. And I have to say that despite the fact that Knights of Sidonia being very faithful in anime, at least based off of what I consumed in the anime ages ago and thought it was not great. The manga is the two are very faithful to one another in terms of like story progression, the scenes, the art. But somehow the manga was just easier to accept and digest and appreciate way more than the anime. So
I mean, hey, we did a whole episode on this, right? Just because it gets adapted doesn't mean it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Some things should just be left as is. Understandably, commercial reasons. Sure, go ahead and make that money. But as a fan, I'd rather see something that is already perfected the way it is, rather than being translated into something that's a little more convenient. I don't really care for stuff that, like, if I already watched it if I already read it as a manga and I enjoyed it, I don't necessarily need to read watch the anime unless I know it's good.
Right. So then, speaking on the adaptations, I decided to then go on this adaptation train, which is then I decided to read a bunch of manga that have anime adaptations incoming. Because, after all, this is not necessarily a complete manga podcast, not a complete anime podcast, but anime is, for better or for worse, which it's fine by me, the main way that people consume animation. So I get it. Anime, you want to consume it by watching it, not reading it. So, To Your Eternity is airing this season. In fact, it should be airing in a couple of days. I have read up to volume 3 of it. I think there is 11 or 12 volumes out. It is... I don't want to talk too much about that because, A, the anime is going to come out soon, and then we'll see for ourselves, or I'll see for myself, whether or not it is adapted faithfully and, the atmosphere and everything. But also because the storyline is... I don't even know how to explain it to people.
I mean, you just told me it's very depressing.
It is majorly depressing.
More depressing than Fire Punch? Or is it a completely different kind of depressing?
It's a completely different kind of depressing.
Right. Because Fire Punch is a fucked up kind of why am I still alive kind of depressing.
Yeah. I would say To Your Eternity is more like, wow, real life kind of sucks. But not like added things to make you think that the world is messed up. It's just more like life is hard for some people. And for some other people, life is really hard. So, I'll report back on To Your Eternity. I'm excited, based off of the manga stuff, to see what the anime is all about.
Yeah, do you think you're going to be putting a hold on it now that the seasonal the episodes are going to be rolling through soon? Or
I think I will
do like a read-along, watch-along kind of thing?
I will read, because I'm up to volume 3, so that's pretty far into what would be one season, 12 episodes worth. So I might read up till volume 4, just to make sure that I know all of what to expect from season 1, or I'm pretty ahead by a couple episodes, so then I can see the pacing and how they go about doing certain things.
Right. Well, you're gonna have to try and find a way to balance everything out, because you've also been reading Hell's Paradise, right?
Yes, Hell's Paradise is an anime that is incoming soon. The manga was on Shonen Jump Plus.
Jump or Jump Plus?
Yeah, Jump Plus, I think. And it is about a bunch of convicts and their executioner handlers going onto an island to find like immortality potion or something that the shogun wants, because it's set in the age of samurais and ninjas and shoguns, but no like crazy advancement. Like, it's just historical in that sense.
Yeah, the anime got announced earlier this year in January, the same day that it ended its run on Jump Plus. So
yes,
kind of like Chainsaw Man, right? Like, once it ended, announcement, this is gonna get animated now.
I think it should be pretty good.
I'm pretty excited. I think it's on my watch list. To be fair, I have so much on my watch list. Not just myself, but also in group. Like, for example, second season of Moriarty is coming out.
Yeah, we need to watch that.
You know, are you gonna be watching Shaman King?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's that.
I owe it to myself to at least see if it's good.
SSSS. How many S's? SSSS
4.
Dynazenon.
Yeah, because the Gridman sequel.
Yeah,
the first episode came out last night or this morning. Yeah.
Yeah. There's also, I mean, for me, right? Like, I have so much to watch. We need to watch Nomad.
Megalobox Season 2, Nomad. Yeah.
Yep. To Your Eternity. We talked about that. 86. We briefly talked about that too.
I want to watch it.
I want to watch Tokyo Revengers. I want to watch Cestus. I want to watch...
What is Cestus?
It's the Roman fighter.
Oh, the one with Netflix. Yeah, good luck with that.
There's also one that you and I should be pretty excited about, Shadow's House.
Yeah, surprisingly, from what I can tell, no one really cares about it.
It's Cloverworks, dude.
It's on Funimation, but it looks interesting. It looks interesting.
Yeah, so far, like, the trailers and like the arts for it looks cool. I'm down to look. I've been convinced Cloverworks is dope. I want to check out more stuff. So,
hey, Horimiya. The last episode is tomorrow, and it is 10 out of 10 for me, easy.
Okay, are you gonna watch the adaptation for The World Ends with You?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
The World Ends with You being a Square Enix video game that was on the Nintendo 3DS.
And then it got like redone for like PlayStation 3 and 4 or Switch.
Switch,
now,
I think.
Now it's going to be an anime adaptation too.
Right. It's about a bunch of kids, like teenagers in Shibuya, fighting with badges and weird monsters and stuff like that. So,
are you watching Slime?
Nope.
Okay.
I was going to watch season 2, like the one that just finished, right? Because I think the one that is airing soon is season 2 part 2 or something. I think like part 1 part 2 is like becoming a thing. So
right. Are you up to date with Fruits Basket?
Nope.
Because the final season's out.
I know.
It started off with a banger, dude.
Apparently.
Yeah, it's at least, again, this is just Mal ratings. 8.57.
Yo,
what was Horimiya when it first debuted?
Roughly the same.
8.5 something as well, right?
Yes.
So, I haven't watched any Fruits Basket. I know you've watched the first season.
Yes, and I watched like the first couple of episodes of the second season.
Right.
So
I mean, you're not dying to watch it, right? But hey, like,
I think it was one of those things where I really liked it. It was really good. And then I kind of was like, I'll wait on it a bit. And then I just never got around to it. Nothing against it. But just get around to it later.
but you only watched the new stuff, or did you ever watch like the original?
I didn't watch the original.
Okay, so you started straight from
The remake.
reboot. Okay.
The reboot remake that premiered in 2019, I think.
Should I get on it? It's on Netflix.
It's all right. I mean, you watch a couple episodes of the first season and you'll know.
Okay.
Except it actually, because it is generic at first, but then that's only because they have to introduce everyone, and then it actually becomes pretty good. So it's hard to say because I think the first couple episodes is very non-indicative of where it's going, because it's very formulaic at first. It's like Fruits Basket is about a girl who lives with a bunch of dudes who belong to a family called the Soma family, and it just so happens that they are all 12 zodiacs animals, and when at least some of the main characters hug another female, they turn into their animal. And yeah, it sounds weird, but
it's enjoyable.
it's enjoyable. It's good.
I mean, dude, it's super highly rated, so
It is really good.
might as well give it a shot, right?
Yeah, you should give it a shot.
Okay, I'll give it a shot from season 1 and then see where it takes me. I mean, the fact that season 3, well, the final season right now is off of the banger right now I think it's worth checking out.
Yeah. So there's 2 more mangas that actually both have anime adaptations that I will just briefly touch on because we're actually running a bit far, but we don't have any news, so, or at least nothing major news. So
I mean, like, outside of things getting sequels or getting like the green lights to get an adaptation,
yeah,
nothing major.
nothing major.
Yeah.
So the last 2 that I'm going to talk about, the first one is called My Senpai is Annoying, which is essentially about an office life, office lady, office guy, office. It's about an office culture, and it's about a senpai being like super big and huge because he did karate, and then like a small petite girl, like really small, to the point where people make jokes that like she is not 20 something but rather looks like 12. And it talks about the slice of lifeness of these 2 people that are kind of into one another, and also other members of the office having slice of life stuff and romance. It's pretty good, but other than it's comfort food. But I don't know if the anime would be very exceptional. I just think it will be it'll be fine. I think that's my guess. But the one that I'm actually quite curious about in terms of the anime adaptation is a series called Shikimori Isn't Just a Cutie. There's 3 volumes out now by Kodansha, and I think there's a hell of a lot more volumes in Japanese. And what is Shikimori Isn't Just a Cutie? It's about a girl called Shikimori dating this guy who I can't remember for the life of me his name. But it's about this girl who is like super cute, but it just so happens that she is super badass. As in, for example, and it just so happens that the main male character, who's like they're together in the very beginning, that he always gets into danger. So you know how the dynamics of relationships of the guy being the dominating, protective one of like the poor and vulnerable girl, right? This Shikimori and the boyfriend essentially switch role reversals of this cute girl actually protecting her boyfriend and looks super cool while doing it, and says all these one-liners that are just like you swoon over it. And it's about the guy trying to be like, oh my god, my girlfriend is awesome and cute and badass, but like, why do I always put myself in this position? And then it's formulaic at first because each page is, or every couple of pages is 1 chapter, and then the story expands to including other characters and is actually quite good. And then it talks about the relationship between the main couple and The anime is incoming, and I think the anime would actually be pretty good. So we'll see how it goes with these anime adaptations.
All right. Well, it sounds like not sounds like, it has been a pretty eventful reading and watching session for you, huh?
I talked a lot, dude.
Yeah.
I feel bad. You didn't, like, compared to me talking, talk not a lot.
Oh, it's cool. No, I mean, like, obviously, if you need someone to read all the boring crap, just give it to Jason.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was nice to catch a nap during that. Haha.
Hey, ReZero's dope, right? Oh, Made in Abyss is dope,
Get
right?
out.
Okay.
Get out now.
Okay.
If you dare to read either one of them and talk about it on this podcast,
JoJo is shit, right? Oh, God.
I'm out.
Okay.
No, speaking of, actually, there has been a bit of an update on that one, actually. So, for the longest time, JoJo fans, and I guess people who like anime and like good cultured anime, the next arc of the JoJo series, which is Stone Ocean, a lot of people were expecting announcements for the manga to get adapted because it usually follows like a cycle of every 2 to 3 years you'll see the next part. So we had like Diamonds Unbreakable along with Golden Wind in the past 4 or 5 years. So then we thought, okay, that means that Stone Ocean is going to be coming out soon.
By the way, just for me, Stone Ocean is part what?
Part 6
Part 6, and the one after that
is Steel Ball Run.
Steel Ball Run. Okay, and the one before it?
Before Steel Ball Run? Or,
no, before Star Ocean.
Golden Wind.
Yeah, Golden Wind. And Golden Wind is out on anime, right? In
actually,
anime form.
It actually is now on Netflix. So for the longest time, Netflix Hong Kong, they only showed the first season, which was Blood Tendency or Battle Tendency.
And then Phantom.
No. Phantom Blood, followed by Battle Tendency, followed by, oh God, I forgot what the third part was called.
Starlight Crusaders?
Yes, Stardust Crusaders.
Stardust Crusaders.
Yeah, how do you know this? And then afterwards, you then have
Diamond is Unbreakable.
and then Golden Wind.
Yeah.
And then, or it's like Vento Oreo or whatever the name was.
And then there's Rohan.
Rohan Kishibe is the side story for Diamond is Unbreakable, which is actually really fantastic. If you have time,
And
to
it's on
watch
Netflix.
Watch it. So yeah, Golden Wind is also on Netflix now. But back on Stone Ocean, a lot of times when the creator Araki introduces specific characters or stands, which are like the powers that manifest within them, it's the main like power system in the manga and the anime. A lot of times, like, he likes to use names. Before it used to be like names of like ancient like gods, goddesses, deities, and all that. A lot of mythological stuff. So when it came to copyright, it wasn't really an issue. However, recently he started using.
Wait. Do we want to actually reveal this? Because isn't that a spoiler? What are you about to say?
What I'm saying is specific to that arc. I'm not saying everything. What I'm saying is like a lot of the stands usually use like names of like rappers or rock stars and whatnot. That's a known fact. However, it does then bring copyright issues, so there have been some name changes, and with the upcoming parts, it's actually going to be quite tough for them to get over a couple of these copyright hurdles. So it means that the adaptation for the anime, which would be globally released, is actually going to be pushed back a lot longer than expected. So we were expecting announcements just around April this year.
April 10th is the actual...
So next week.
Because they did a countdown. I think we actually talked about...
Very briefly, yeah.
Like ages ago about an actual countdown to this event that's happening on April 10th, which the reason why Will knows all this is because details of it got leaked. So whether or not it is true is a different thing entirely. We have no way to verify it.
So they'll quote us on it, but to all the JoJo fans, the people who are interested in Part 6, just wait a bit longer.
When is it coming out?
Predicted to be 2025.
Jesus, that's long.
Yeah, so 4 years from now. It's a long time. So, hey, look, if you can get your hands on some of the English translated stuff, I know that everything from Part 1 to Part 3 is all done. Go ahead and read it. Or just rewatch Parts 4 and 5. Those are my favorite parts. I actually really like Part 3, but people said that like the pacing was a bit off. I don't care. I like anything JoJo except for Part 1.
So I think the leaked announcement also says something about Rohan Kishibe, right?
Yeah, they're going to be introducing 2 new stories to the Kishibe verse. So if you haven't watched the first 4, go ahead and watch those. Those are really, really good. And you should be expecting to see 2 more OVAs coming out sometime this year. I think 2 more. So, hey, look, 2025 predicted it's going to be quite a long time from now. But look, like
We have plenty to watch in the meantime.
the JoJo manga started in the 80s. It's like, if anything, JoJo fans were patient, except for some who are a little more hardcore. We're probably talking about those ones, which are a little more insufferable. I'm not one of them. I'm worse than that.
Okay. I can deal with that.
So, yeah.
I think that is...
I did have a bit of news. Huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
we did have a bit of news, yeah. I mean, technically, all like what I've been reading and watching has anime adaptations incoming, so I guess that's kind of news for some people. And, yeah so...
You're getting 2 birds stoned.
2 birds with 1 stone. 2 birds stoned is like a different thing entirely.
No, you're getting them both stoned.
Like high? Like 420? Blaze?
No.
What?
That's the saying, right?
What? Okay.
You're getting 2 birds stoned with 1 stone.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
I'm being dumb, okay?
I know that. I don't know if everyone else does.
Now you feel dumb, don't you?
I feel kind of dumb. I feel I just lost some brain cells.
All right. Well, we'll take some time off to regain those brain cells because we're going to be hitting some meat and potatoes. This is going to be a really, really heavy discussion.
Yeah, so we will be right back after this break, right? Well, is there any crazy pseudo sponsors that sponsored our show today?
I don't think after what after I told everybody that I've been reading Domestic Girlfriend, the sponsors haven't come. The sponsors are staying away from me for just 1 episode.
So the sponsors that we're gonna make up for this episode doesn't exist anymore.
Well,
No, it's fine. Fine.
Yeah.
We can't always get sponsored by fictional organizations.
Yeah.
Hey, there's always next episode, right?
We still have Isekai Motors, if anything.
Yeah, Isekai Motors is doing good. Okay. All right, guys. We'll be right back soon.
If you're still listening to this, that means you must be excited for the second half of today's episode, in which we'll be going over a pretty meaty topic. So, once again, this is Will, and Jason over here as well.
Yo.
So, took a while to go through Jason's extensive read and watch list, but, sometimes people just, want to take things to the next level, and apparently there's another level above that.
Hey, look. You're the past 2 weeks, I actually thought I would be super busy, and you thought you would not be super busy, but then it turns out that we were both wrong. And then, therefore, which, hey, look, it happens, right? Like, there's going to be times when I can't, watch or read much. So I was just like, I'm pretty sure, like, April's going to be hell for me, the rest of April at least. So then I might as well enjoy the calm before the storm, so...
Yeah, and the storm is already hitting for me. Work has been pretty tough, but what am I going to do, right? Like, I'm not going to take time off work just to do whatever I need here. I need to be able to make sure that once I do get off work, that's whatever remaining time I have left, I try and squeeze some anime and some manga, which I guess I did, but I only managed to watch 3 episodes total. I haven't even finished any of the seasonals yet that I've been watching from this previous season. So I haven't finished Attack on Titan, I haven't finished Jobless Reincarnation, and unfortunately I haven't finished Dr. Stone yet. I'm literally just 1 or 2 episodes away. We're almost done with Wonder Egg too.
Yeah. We forgot. There's a bit of news.
June or July?
June.
Yeah. So,
June 22nd.
Yeah. So it was slated to have 12 episodes for the season, but because one of them was a recap episode, I should say it anyway, it's not a spoiler, because now they've made an announcement. There's going to be a final series wrap-up episode coming up in July.
June 22nd.
Yeah. So except for that, which means we should watch the next... however many episodes we have left. We have 2 left?
2 left.
Yeah.
Okay, so our main discussion topic today is a twofold kind of discussion
If
about
you-
anime and manga.
If you like stats, this is going to be a good episode.
We are talking this episode about the proliferation and stigmatization of anime and manga.
Yeah, I think whether or not you are reading any manga or watching any anime, or how connected you are, I'm sure that's through third party or just through friends and other connections, a fair amount of what people think about anime, or maybe you have your own personal opinions about anime.
And on the other hand, anime used to be this very niche thing. And I think to this very day, it's still somewhat of a niche to a certain degree. But
it's growing.
It's not only just growing, it has grown to, it's grown quite a bit. And
we talked a little bit about, how it's starting to get more and more international acclaim. The fact that, we talked about the Crunchyroll numbers, we talked about the mergers between Crunchyroll and Funimation, Sony picking it up as well. It's a vast landscape now. But
right.
Even then, it's still pretty much, it will still be considered niche.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. Like a special interest kind of thing. So we're going to, I haven't told ask Will this, but I think we should split into either proliferation of anime and manga throughout the years or stigmatization of anime and manga throughout the years.
Yeah, let's start with the good stuff. Let's start with, what made anime the way it is now and how it's seeped into the mainstream and generally, what people think about it. I think nowadays, the perception of anime is a lot more positive than it used to be. Okay, well, more positive.
But that's
right? You were talking about the proliferation and how people think about.
No, that's stigmatization.
Well,
proliferation is how much it has grown.
But that's also because of the fact that it's been more widely accepted, therefore it's grown too.
But that's
right?
stigmatization. Okay, yes,
Right?
that is correct.
If we're
sorry.
talking stigma, then we're talking specifically about the negative aspects or the negative perceptions of anime.
It's almost like we should have talked about this before we started.
But that's
recording.
literally what stigma is.
Yes.
So
you're not wrong. I'm just saying, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're doing this live.
Doing it live.
Yeah, we'll do it. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Okay, wow, it spiked pretty hard there. Okay. Yeah, so Will, yes, definitely the sentiment about anime has changed throughout the years, for sure. I think anime as a medium is not only more widely accepted, but it is also earning a lot of money.
A boatload of money.
So the Association of Japanese Animation, the AJA, is the quintessential organization that manages and aggregates stats and numbers of the anime and manga industry. They release a report every year about the previous 2 years. It's like census. They always release the census 2 years before or something like that. You don't report 2020 numbers at 2020. You report them a year or two after you can digest the data and everything, winds down. So we have the latest data about 2018 and 2019 that we got the report from the AJA, the Association of Japanese Animations, and it's in English. So you can even go up to their website at aja.gr.jp and download the English version of the report, and it's quite comprehensive.
Yeah, we can link it in the description.
Yeah,
of the episode as well.
Definitely. And it's free to access and free to download and view. And
look, maybe you're not like a stats person. Maybe you don't really care about the numbers. Maybe you just like watching anime. But it does help to give you a little bit of context as to the development of the anime and manga industry. Anime specifically. Manga, that's a whole different thing we can talk about. But it's grown.
It's important, I think, because sure, you may not care about the behind the scenes stuff. You may not care about that. The anime industry has grown to 2.5112 trillion yen, which is about $24.08 billion in 2019. 24 billion US dollars. That's insane. But why does that matter to the average viewer, average listener? Because quite simply, the bigger market it is, the more money is going to be injected in, the more creative energy and resources that will be injected back into the industry. So then, therefore, you would see theoretically, more anime and more manga.
Yeah, you want to be able to gain more exposure for it, right? To be able to shine more of a light, so it becomes more commonplace for people. Therefore, curiosity can get the better of you, and you'd be like, "Well, okay, maybe I've never really I've watched Western cartoons. Now maybe it's time to check out some anime." In the end, it's just similar things, but in a different skin.
Yeah. So to quote the AJA a bit more, 2019 was the 10th consecutive year that the industry has grown and has almost doubled in size since 2009. And in 2009, the industry was worth 1.27 trillion yen. So 1.27 trillion yen in 2009, and then in 2019 it was 2.5112 trillion yen. That's insane.
Big numbers. Big numbers. But it's good though. I think the more money we can get into it, like you said, right? We'll be able to get more shows, maybe even get more studios on board to try and make more stuff.
Yeah. Or just more investment capital to have more independent studios. Like, for example, we didn't put this in the docket, but like Puparia, for example, is an indie anime that was somewhat self-funded or privately funded that I would say when we were kids is impossible. Almost impossible. Unless if you want to see all that money pretty much never come back. So the fact that was available, the fact that Kickstarter with Little Witch Academia from Studio Trigger, which Will and I watched and both quite liked, that would not have been possible. So and also what was it? I think last episode we talked about The Girl on the Other Side.
Yeah.
Which is a big Kickstarter, and they got their goal met within 24 hours. Yeah. And their goal was not like, a very small goal. It was a very substantial goal, and it's only going to get bigger. And the only reason why it has received so much funding is because people love anime, people love manga, people care about how anime has grown, literally. So
yeah. It's not just the fact that more and more countries are watching it, blah blah blah. It's and then certain places haven't grown, blah blah. One of the interesting bit of stats that we have, we talked about how just more and more platforms are now starting to air and stream anime. One of which is Netflix, right? So I believe in the last year, they actually did a report that among its users, about 100 million subscribers, or at least 100 million households, had streamed at least one anime title.
Yeah. The fact that Netflix has an anime partnership collaboration program.
With a lot of studios, by the way.
Yes. And I think Netflix even has, an animation scholarship.
Yes, that's it. Where is it Netflix? It's Netflix, right? Where they bring you.
Okay, we should. Yeah, please.
Where they bring you to Japan.
Please Google it so we don't misquote this because it's a big deal. But anyways, while Will is busily typing things out,
it's a collaboration with Studio Ghibli.
Oh,
yeah. So basically, Netflix and What Studio basically joined forces to create an art academy.
Then what is Studio Ghibli? You said Studio Ghibli.
It's created by a former Studio Ghibli animator, Hitomi Tateno. So that person's gonna be running the program. It's a 6-month program, which is kind of like you said, it's a full scholarship, covering fees and living expenses while staying at the Sasayuri Video Training Institute in Tokyo.
And it's not just for Japanese local people, it's open to everyone.
Non-citizens are considered. You do have to live in Japan, however.
Well, yeah.
And also be able to speak some Japanese. Again, right? It makes sense. Japanese is their main language. You have to be at least be able to converse it. You don't have to be fluent.
And you have to communicate with the other staff members or other students. So you just have to learn some Japanese or know some Japanese.
But this shit wouldn't have happened without literally the fact that all these animes, all this anime, all this manga can now be consumed on streaming services.
Yeah, it's not just that, but also the fact that Netflix and Wit Studio would see this as a worthwhile investment. To invest in several years, full ride paid everything, living expenses, scholarship, like program money, job even.
I mean, if you ever watched like a series and at the end of the episode maybe caught a little bit of the credits, you will see there's a lot of non-Japanese names on there. Like there's a lot of Vietnamese,
A lot of Korean,
a lot of Filipino, a lot
some
of
Chinese too.
Yeah, but those are studios that are kind of like remote, off-site. They're not in Japan. They're literally in their own respective home countries. Now this is an opportunity to actually bring those animators, maybe not those ones specifically, but aspiring animators and creators to come into Japan, the birthplace of anime, to come in, really like review their craft, bring something new, and actually make a living out of it. You wouldn't have seen this like 10, 15 years in Japan.
Right. And I think another thing that is quite prevalent is not only on the TV anime front, but also the movie anime front. I think...
Before we go into that, though, you know how we talked about how Netflix had recorded 100 million households?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's 100 households or like specifically just subscribers.
Or like users.
Yeah, but this year alone, in January, Netflix had just surpassed 200 million subscribers. So if we were to say that 100 people household is 100 million users, 50% of Netflix's user base has watched a anime at least.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because there's so much shit on there, but it's like, you would think, okay, like definitely, like it's on there. They have it on the catalogs. Someone's gonna watch it. 1 in 2 people on Netflix has watched anime.
Yes.
One anime, and that's like a staggering number to me.
Yes. Like whether or not they're doing that just to see what's up.
Yeah, out of curiosity.
Or whether or not they are a hardcore like anime watcher like myself. That, to be honest, I should subscribe to. I should.
May also just be the fact that like some countries just don't have a really big Crunchyroll or Funimation, or even have access to Crunchyroll or Funimation.
Earlier, what I was saying about subscribing, like I do have a Netflix premium subscription, but I should subscribe to watching more live action stuff because that's what my parents use my profile for. I use it mainly just to watch anime.
I do a bit of both, but mostly I would say like 90% of the time I'm watching anime. There's really only 2 shows that I've watched on Netflix in the past year or so, which live action, which is Money Heist or Casa de Papel, and then the other one being Narcos. Outside of that, everything is anime.
So, I think, look, what I would call classic anime like Dragon Ball Z, like Sailor Moon, like Astro Boy, all these properties back in the day have always been sort of in the zeitgeist of certain groups of the Western population. Things like Samurai Champloo, things like Cowboy Bebop, considered classics. But I would say the first time, I would wager a guess, right? It's subjective. But I would say the first real time that people were like, oh, wow, anime might be a big deal is, I think, in 2006? Basically, the year that Spirited Away
That's
won.
2000, I think.
2000?
I thought Spirited Away was much older.
Oh, my God. Oh, God.
Yeah. But, hey, this was a pivotal moment in
Yeah,
anime history.
because it wasn't the other properties the Studio Ghibli properties that I adore as well. Like, I adore Princess Mononoke and Princess Laputa Castle in the Sky.
It released December 2001. So
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. So, Studio
20 years ago.
Studio Ghibli released in Spirited Away in 2001, and it won the Academy Award for Best Foreign Film.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, man.
It was massive. To be fair, though, like Ghibli has always produced some really fantastic properties. We're talking about fucking like Howl's Moving Castle, Princess Mononoke,
Laputa, Castle in the Sky.
We're talking about
the Valley of the Wind.
To some extent, my neighbor. I almost said My Hero Totoro.
Oh no!
No, My Neighbor
Totoro.
Kiki's Delivery as well.
Kiki's Delivery Service. I like that a lot too.
For me, my personal favorite's Porco Rosso, but
oh wow, yeah, okay.
yeah,
not bad.
But then it's like some of these they're huge, but none of them got onto the global scene as hard as Spirited Away. To this day, people are still talking about Spirited Away. There are so many cosplays and dress-ups as characters from the show, from the movie.
And then to make matters even crazier, things like Your Name.
Big.
For better or for worse, I thought the movie is pretty good.
I liked it a lot.
I liked it. I wouldn't say it is like crazy good. But it is good enough that I can see that and be like, yeah, man, anime's pretty dope, right? And apparently a lot of people agree with me
A lot of people.
I mean, it was, before Mugen Train, it was the most successful animated movie, right?
Well, you're talking about worldwide or
No, in Japan.
In Japan, yes.
Yeah.
Worldwide, it was
still Spirited Away.
But by a very, I say marginal. It was $15 million.
Dude, that's not a lot.
That's but like it's a lot of money. But in respect to like
movie sales,
yeah,
that's not a lot.
do you know what came like? So like we talked about Demon Slayer, we talked about Spirited Away, Your Name. Do you know what the fourth one was worldwide?
The Dragon Ball movie?
No, this is also a Ghibli movie.
Mononoke.
No,
No. The cat.
Mononoke was ninth.
Cat?
No, Castle.
Castle, Laputa Castle in the Sky.
Howl's Moving Castle.
Howl's Moving Castle.
But the disparity is huge. Whereas Your Name made 380 mil, Howl's Moving Castle was 235. So almost almost 150 million.
So 380 mil is
worldwide
is
grossing
for
Your Name.
Right. I would say even as an American summer box office, 380 US, right?
Yes.
Is a very, very respectable number. And then when you factor in the fact that the budget of a typical American summer blockbuster is infinitely more than a Japanese animation film, because that's just the way it is absurd that it earned that much money.
Yeah, but yeah, you can't really compare the budgets between an animated film and a live action film.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. I'm just saying
but that's
it's
why
praiseworthy.
That's when you put it in that context. The numbers are insane.
And I think Mugen Train now is just shattering records everywhere despite COVID.
424 million US dollars.
You're going to say Hong Kong dollars? That's not a lot.
You would have had to make it into the billions in Hong Kong dollars.
Yeah, so the impact of anime in the zeitgeist of just the Western audience is huge.
It's fucking massive.
I mean, if you were to tell an average person on the street, hey, do you like Naruto? Have you heard of Naruto? Do you like One Piece?
I can guarantee you that 9 out of 10 people
Dragon Ball
will know of either One Piece, Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, Naruto, Bleach.
Yeah,
absolutely 9 out of 10.
Pokemon 100%, but let's even take Pokemon out of the equation.
Pokemon's not an anime.
Ooh.
Pokemon is not an anime. Pokemon is first and foremost a gaming property that has spun out into many different forms.
Okay. That I accept that answer.
Right? Because it's huge. I mean, we're talking about trading card games. We're talking about the actual games themselves. We're talking about merchandise. We're talking about movies. Like it's hard. It's kind of like why it's kind of hard to when we talk about anime films. There's anime films and there's Ghibli films, but at the same time, like it's still under the same umbrella. We're still talking about the good old anime.
So it is interesting to see that despite the fact that anime has become so widespread throughout, our lives from when we were childhood till now, I would say, in my personal opinion, subjective opinion, that the Japanese studios, executives, like the high managerial positions, not even just anime and manga, but even with video games, are very blasé about acknowledging the impact of the international market. They are a lot better now than people were back, like even 5 years ago. But it is funny how the international market obviously is way larger than the population of the entirety of Japan. But a lot of decisions, for example, that if we could go off topic a little bit with video games, Nintendo does some really archaic stuff or doesn't adopt certain practices that should have been adopted ages ago that only gets adopted now. And that's the same thing with animation studios as well.
I mean, we talked about like localization, getting studios to translate certain things. I mean, again, running off of the video game example, I mean, you played many of the Final Fantasy games?
Yeah.
Right? So like there's Final Fantasy 1 all through 15, right? But
well, to be fair, like Final Fantasy 1 was like
Final Fantasy 1. Final Fantasy 2 in America was Final Fantasy 5.
Four. Oh, I thought it was-
4 or 5.
Yeah.
And Final Fantasy 3 in America was Final Fantasy 6.
Uh-huh.
And then afterwards, all of a sudden, Final Fantasy 7 came out. I was like, "Wait, what the fuck happened to the other ones?" Then they started re-releasing the originals and translating them, and then sending them onto the Super Nintendo.
And then
onto the Game
redid them,
Boy.
remastered.
Yeah, but then the Final Fantasy 3, they only released on the DS and 3D version, and it's the only way you can play it. But the original is still very much in Japanese. So yeah, you also have like back onto like the manga thing, and the anime as well. Sometimes older manga, depending on whether or not it gets like worldwide acclaim, it takes either a really quick time or a very long time for it to get translated. Sometimes it doesn't even get translated.
Yeah.
But nowadays, with stuff being easier to
Like
access,
simulcast
Yeah.
and simulpub,
simulcasting.
which is simultaneous casting, which is
The
when
day
it
it releases in Japan, you'll also get a translated version on the same time or
like
shortly
one
afterwards.
day. Yeah. And then simulpub is the manga equivalent publishing. So it is now catching up. But to my knowledge, simulcast and simulpub was not a thing 5 years ago.
No.
To my knowledge, it is one season is done, and then it comes out in DVD, or it comes out at your local bookstore in a weird like corner.
Man, I mean, do you remember like growing up and watching or reading the stuff that we grew up with, and then like, oh, when we were in America or in Australia or Canada, we watched this one episode where it was dubbed in English, and then when we came back to Hong Kong, we were like, oh, we watched the same thing, but this time it was in Cantonese, or we picked up the manga and it was written in Chinese, or you watched something and it was in Japanese dub. It wasn't like Japanese voice acting, but then there was Chinese subtitles. There were so many shows that I grew up watching that had that issue. It was so long before I actually properly watched a show that had legitimate English translated subs.
Yeah, and to make things way harder for the West to catch on, I remember very distinctively, and I'm going to date myself here, Will and I obviously grew up in Hong Kong, and when I moved back to the U.S. for boarding school and for university, I would then go into the bookstores and just to peruse because, I don't know, like I was bored one afternoon or something. And I would go to the manga section because, hey, why not? They are so far behind that when I come back to Hong Kong, I will go to a manga store, which they don't have many left because, no one really buys physical media anymore. But I would see, like, I knew about Attack on Titan, and books on Attack on Titan came out in Taiwan and in Hong Kong way before I even knew about Attack on Titan as an English translated property. And I was like, hey, Attack on Titan might be a thing a couple of years from now because I knew that there was a lag. And to make matters even crazier for some of the people, they would watch the anime and go, oh, wow, it ended in that the one season ended. Oh, will there be a season 2 and season 3? Oh, actually, anime doesn't work like that where it's a continual thing guaranteed for everyone, regardless of how successful it is.
Man, I imagine the people watching Attack on Titan Season 1 in 2013 thinking, oh, I can't wait for more of this shit, and having to wait 4 years for Season 2.
Yeah, it's not just that, but also, like, I have encountered instances where someone was really into anime, watched this series, and being like, okay, they're not going to come out with a second season because it's been so long. Why don't I read the manga? And then they go, wait, it's not even translated in English. Like,
well, I guess we were lucky that we were able to get the Chinese ones.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, when you were buying hard copy manga long ago, do you remember how much they cost per copy?
Yes, it costs roughly, it was $28 for the typical shonen.
What?
And then it was like 40, 50.
There you go.
As I grew older. And then for like the really long ones, it was around 70 Hong Kong dollars.
Yeah, I was paying $40 for copies of Naruto and Bleach.
So for our American Western audiences, you divide the numbers
it's like
$7.7
$6.
Yeah.
Like that.
You divide 7.7.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just, I guess this goes very well into our topic our discussion part where the West and the East, or Asia, their acceptance of anime and manga. And we were both fortunate enough to be able to speak quite well on this topic because we have both lived in America and lived currently in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong being quite a international city.
Yeah.
But I can recall the fact that when I was growing up, and even now actually, like now, for example, I'm currently studying at a university. Some of my classmates, we talk about Jujutsu Kaisen. We talk about Demon Slayer and this is not like me cherry picking people. This is literally almost like half or 3/4 of the people that I interact with at least know or consumed this manga and anime.
It's the same with me too, dude. Like 75% of my office is watching anime, whether it's Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer. You know my boss?
Yeah.
My boss, father of 2,
Mm-hmm.
is a massive Attack on Titan fan.
Yeah.
Every now and then, Drew's lunch break, he'll just crack it open, watching the final season. I'm like,
Captain Levi's doing pretty good, huh?
I know where you're.
I-
They're about to do that thing in that episode, and then
Yeah.
you're gonna have a good time.
Linked Horizon, not with the last season, but Linked Horizon is a pretty good song. Everyone remembers that.
Yeah, he freaking loves Attack on Titan.
Yeah, so and it's not this thing where people have negative connotation. It was just, oh, so you just do that, you're just into this thing. It's just like another thing that you're into.
Well, so, I mean, I guess like the easiest way of saying is sometimes people just look at us like, so you're watching cartoons.
No, I mean,
you're watching cartoons when you're an adult.
no, that's the West.
Well, no, you still get it here too.
Yeah, but like very few.
Yeah.
Especially with like Attack on Titan and like especially nowadays. Maybe when we were teenagers or no, when we were like adults.
I guess the example I was thinking of was more just like it's still very much an age disparity. We're talking about like the older people talking about people nowadays. It's
like our parents.
Yeah, like our parents, like people like who are like in their 50s and above. We'll probably look at it. It's like, oh, these are just cartoons, right? I mean, more specifically, we're talking more just like people within our age group. We're talking about the general perspective on anime, and yeah, it's definitely more accepted in Asia. Would you say it's not? Actually, no. It's still pretty much accepted in the West, right? It's just different. There's still just a wider spectrum of opinions and connotations over in the West.
So here is my personal experience with the West. Or specifically in America and in Australia. In America, when I was living there was this. As you said, alluded to earlier, it was like a Saturday morning cartoon. It was the Dragon Balls. It was the One Pieces. It was the Narutos. It was
maybe you have an hour
Sailor
after
Moon.
school, but yes, it would be those shows. Yeah.
It would be those shows, and you have fondness for it. And when you like, for example, one of my roommates at the time loved Dragon Ball Z, and they would talk.
I had roommates who just loved Spike and Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, like these people are very prevalent. But they are kind of afraid to talk about it too much. Or when you instantly talk about, well, what's airing right now, immediately the tone changes. So, when it comes to things like comic books, like Marvel, DC, people would always associate you as like a nerd, right? Like a nerd or a geek. What is the difference between a nerd and a geek? I feel like a nerd is more like academic focused and a geek is more like pop culture knowledge, right?
Ooh.
Or because you could be a music geek, for example.
Well, what rolls off the tongue more, a comic book nerd or a comic book geek?
I feel like geek.
Yeah.
Because when I think nerd, I think like someone who studies all the time.
Book smart,
but like that's all that person is.
Yeah.
So I think there's some cross-pollination between a geek and a nerd, but I think my personal separation is a geek is someone that's knowledgeable about a particular interest. And
more hobby focused.
Yes, and nerd is more academic focused. So the reason why I mentioned these somewhat derogatory terms is because there is a derogatory term for people who like anime, and it is known as a weeb, W-E-E-B. What is funny is that for research for this topic, I actually tried to find out how this term weeb came from. And it has the weirdest origin story I have ever seen for a term.
And you knew that it all came down to 4chan.
Yeah. Okay. So, in the early 2000s, back when I'm going to spin you a tale, listeners.
Back when the internet was still like a mysterious place.
Back when 56K modems and
Newgrounds.
back when your
Hey, what's your Zanga page, by the way?
oh Jesus.
Did you have a MySpace?
No, I never had a MySpace.
I never
I
had
had a
MySpace.
I had a
Zanga
Zanga.
too. I had a Zanga as
So
well.
back when your mother or your father lift up the fax machine phone and you'd get disconnected from the internet. Anyways, enough about that. In the early 2000s, there was a term to try to define the people who are obsessed about Japanese culture and Japanese stuff.
We're talking about specifically people in the West as well.
Yes, that's correct. I think you could attribute a lot of it to what is happening with Korean stuff nowadays. I think that is a very interesting parallel because when we were teenagers, whether we're not in Hong Kong or in the West, it was all about Japan.
Yeah.
And now it's all about Korea. K-pop,
But
K-drama.
that's why they're called Korea boos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
What?
They're called Korea boos.
Okay.
People who are K-pop stans, people who are all about their K-dramas, they're Korea boos.
Okay.
It's a thing.
So the term that was, I guess, deemed for the people who liked Japanese properties at the time in the early 2000s was called Wapanese, which is a portmanteau meaning a word that is a combination of two or more words of white and Japanese.
Or wannabe.
Or wannabe Japanese. Like, I don't think you would be able to know for sure which of the two, but either one of those sound plausible. What is for sure is that Wapanese was a thing. Then there is a webcomic called The Perry Bible Fellowship. I don't know if you've read it before.
Definitely no.
I have read it. It is like this, like back then, it was a very dark, like, it's, like Garfield, they have like the horizontal panels.
Yeah.
So imagine that. It's like Cyanide and Happiness.
Yes.
Cyanide and Happiness is like nowadays, right?
Yeah.
It's a webcomic. Or was it XCRD?
XKRD.
XKRD. So they have like multiple panels, right? So it's Perry Bible Fellowship is like dark, twisted, satirical look on
Oh, damn, we were both wrong. It's actually XKCD.
XKCD. Oh my god. Our nerd or our geek street cred is plummeting, dude.
I'll be turning in my badge.
Yep, me too. So, anyways, this Perry Bible Fellowship, I actually don't know if it's still ongoing. I was about to say web manga. Oh my god. This web comic had a term called weeaboo. Weeaboo. Now, what does it mean? Apparently, according to the creator, that has no meaning other than it sounding like it's a negative thing to describe someone. And then, of course, someone on 4chan, which is... I don't even want to describe what 4chan really is. It is an internet community. Would you say, Will? 4chan? Let's just be as diplomatic about this as possible.
I'm trying to figure out how we could describe 4chan without drawing the ire of...
It is just let's just say it's an internet community.
Yeah.
They then turned weeaboo into weeb. And then weeb became the thing that to describe people that are obsessed over anime, waifu, manga, body pillows and all that shenanigans. And it is no longer just about Japanese anime, but visual novels, manga, light novels, basically all of that stuff. And it's to describe weeb. So, we have in our podcast described each other as weeb before. So we use this term. And I think originally it was to be quite derogatory and quite negative. But I think at a certain point, people just started using it as just a term to describe this specific thing. And it is, depending on who you say it to, it can either be offensive or just describing the phenomenon. Like when I say to like Will, like you're such a weeb, there is like a teasing aspect to it. But when like, I don't know, you change your tone and
Oh, you're such a fucking weeb.
yeah, I mean you can even be teasing that too, right?
Again, but tone.
Right,
Context.
yeah, context and tone. Like it could be very inoffensive or it could be very offensive. Needless to say, to a certain degree, the anime, manga, light novel, weeb community has embraced that term. Now, why does the West, in particular, compared to our experiences in Hong Kong or in Asia, are less accepting of anime and manga or the weeb community? Will, can you sort of like, what is your opinion on this?
I think it's probably because it's still kind of foreign in a way.
It's not kind of foreign. It technically is foreign. It's technically animation and properties and merchandise from that originated in Japan.
Yeah, but even then, though, the word anime itself is just short for animation.
Yes.
So, like, if you were to say it in Japan, like, anime just means cartoon, animation. Right? If you were to ask someone what Shrek is in Japan, Shrek is an anime.
So, I know this might be a bit niche, but in Cantonese there is a term called donghua.
Yep.
Donghua means animation.
Yeah.
And then manhwa can sound
because dong is movement.
Yeah, and wa is art
Yeah.
or drawing. And then manhwa is
For comic.
it's like basically manga. Manhwa manga sounds very similar, and it is. Now there's a new term called dongman, which is both those terms combined together to essentially describe someone who watches and reads anime and manga. In order to separate animation of the normal variety and animation of the Japanese variety. That's the difference. Because when I talk to my friends, they at school, they say dongman. They don't say they do say manga, they say manhwa, but they don't say donghua. They say dongman to specifically say of all the animation stuff out there, which includes like, Disney, which includes like Pixar, which includes like like the Western like Marvel stuff, the Legend of Korra, Airbender, they would say that dongman is specifically Japanese inspired or Japanese in origin.
So we're talking about your Ghiblis, your Demon Slayers,
Yes.
your Narutos.
Yes. And it is interesting because I feel that interacting with a lot of people that are very westernized. And I actually have asked some people about this because I'm rather open and forthcoming about my passion for anime and manga. I have received a myriad of different responses and reactions. Of course, some of them not caring, which is like, fine, Jason, you're into that, whatever. Some of them being positive, as in, oh, dude, I am into One Piece. And I'm just like, you filthy casual. But hey, One Piece is good.
One Piece is fantastic.
Oh, I'll be like, oh, hey, Sailor Moon. And I'm like, okay, keep going. And then they're like, no, that's it. And I was like, that's not bad, but okay.
You should watch Madoka Magica.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, you should watch Madoka Magica. So then the reason some of these responses are good is because they associate with what they've been watching. But then you get, inevitably, with anything,
Hate.
You wouldn't, like, sometimes hate would be better because hate would then mean
Maybe more ridicule.
they don't, yeah, because if it's hate, they're just like, oh, okay, I just don't want to deal with this guy or you, or I don't want to deal with this guy because he just vehemently doesn't like this. So then you go your way, I go my way. But when you're ridiculed, or even they started thinking that, oh, you're into anime and manga, Jason?
You must love hentai.
You must love hentai. Dude, How many figurines do you have?
Dude, do you
How many body pillows do you have?
Did you see that octopus over there? Like,
Yeah, man.
What do you think of that octopus? Huh?
Yeah, dude. What happens about tentacle porn? Like okay, like Jesus Christ. Just because I like anime and manga doesn't mean I like all of anime and manga. I like a lot of it.
But it's so easy to umbrella everything, right?
Yeah,
because
or
it's
it's like-
drawn the same. It looks the same. Oh, they have like high pitched screaming Japanese voice actresses and actresses.
I mean, I swear to God, Will doesn't know this. A week and a half ago, I told someone in confidence that Will read Domestic Girlfriend. I mean, I didn't say Will's name, but I said a friend of mine. And I said Scum's Wish. And then this person said, "Oh, what is this?" And then I also said I wanted to read it at some point. When I described the plot synopsis, I still talk to this person, but our communication has lessened since then. Like, not even joking. Like, real. Like, because they were like incest, but not really incest, but okay. Or like
false relationships.
Like,
oh, forced cucking and all that. Oh.
it's like also like when I tried to explain to certain people the isekai genre, the genre of reincarnating into another world. A lot of people who read manga and anime just gets it instantly. Like, oh, isekai, another world, isekai, got it, done. But then the people who are unfamiliar or only watches Attack on Titan or only watches like My Hero Academia, nothing against them. But if they only watch certain shows that have reached to their point, has permeated through modern society, that it's okay, so to speak. But then I get the inevitable question at some point with people that I don't know very well, who knows about my anime and manga passion. They would be like, "Oh, so you like lollies, right?
What do you think of shotas?
What do you think of shotas?" Which, by the way, for those listeners who don't know what that is, actually, you know what? You just Google it.
Yeah.
Like, there are questionable parts of anime and manga that I feel are very unique to anime and manga.
Therefore, it's very easy to shine a light on it and therefore critique it.
I mean, there was an Australian senator that I think if you YouTube this,
the whole speech is on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just this guy talking about the depravity and disgust of like anime series like Arrow Manga Sensei, which has a lolly in it and questionable relationships in it. And or like I forgot what else he said. He said ReZero.
Yeah.
He said ReZero and simping, right? I was just like, oh God. So then,
to be fair though, this is also the same country, the same government that started talking about pornographic material that featured flat-chested women because they felt that it kind of connoted like young,
underage,
yeah,
like jailbait,
prepubescent, jailbaits.
I remember when that news arrived, like on my news feed, and I was just like,
"What the fuck, Australia?"
I was like, I live in this country for the time being. The hell, man! This is the same country that, for better or for worse, was like, oh, Mortal Kombat. Fuck that noise. You're not selling Mortal Kombat, and it eventually.
But video game censorship has always been a really contentious point.
I mean,
Australia.
then you have like Jack Thompson and like GTA in America. So okay, I get it. But anyways, this senator just dissed the shit out of anime and manga by cherry picking and hand picking all this violence and depravity and lewdness. Guess what was the general response? In Australia, at least, with my friends.
I'm guessing like manga and anime sales just skyrocketed.
Exactly. People were just like,
fuck you. I love this shit. I'm gonna support the industry.
Oh no, it's not even that. It is that, but it's also like yeah, those stuff are kind of messed up.
And I like it.
And what are you going to do about it? Are you going to ban it? No, you're just complaining on your soapbox. But that's true, right? There's in the West, in America, there was all these perceptions that you're kind of a pervert if you like anime and manga.
Oh, you like anime girls? Oh, you must have a body pillow. Then,
Oh, yeah. Like, what is your 2D waifu?
Yeah, I bet you have like hella like anime figures.
Yeah,
right?
I bet you're single your whole life. That kind of thing.
That kind of thing. But do you play any of those like VR dating sims of anime girls? Do you play those those mobile games of like 3D girlfriends and shit? 2D girlfriends, I mean? Like that's generally like the response I get.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot better now.
Oh,
but
much better.
but
it's still like short digs too. Every now and then,
yeah.
I'll have a friend seeing that I'm watching. I don't know. I'm watching an episode of Wonder Egg, or I'm watching an episode of Tokyo Ghoul. No, not Tokyo Ghoul. No, that's a bad example. But like they'd be like, "Oh, what kind of hentai are you watching?" Those kind of things, right?
Right, like assuming that everyone who watches anime and reads manga all of a sudden is just like, well, we're just gonna graduate to hentai because apparently that's how it is.
Like we know it's a joke, but it gets tiring after a while.
It does get tiring, and it's just condescending and very disrespectful to the industry at large.
Yeah.
Because there is so much good stuff out there. And it's not just your Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, it's not just Dragon Ball, guys.
In fact, like, what was it, Will? Like,
see, the thing is, the same people that I know of that like talk shit about like anime and say, "Oh, you're gonna watch hentai." These are the same people that grew up watching Dragon Ball and Pokemon and fucking.
Yeah, but they
Naruto.
no, Will. They graduated.
Yeah,
they graduated from these things.
They're not kids anymore.
They're not kids anymore. They don't play video games anymore.
They don't watch these weird Japanese cartoons anymore.
They don't play video games anymore because video games are for children.
Yeah,
like fuck that. But one thing that I would say is the fact that Will and I and a lot of people our age grew up with anime and manga, regardless of where you live. Obviously, some of those people that like anime and manga would not only continue to like anime and manga, but would also have their occupation be of a certain spotlight or limelight. Needless to say, there is a fair number, and it's only going to get larger, the number of athletes, the number of celebrities quote-unquote celebrities, Hollywood actors, or, very famous and rich, well-known people that obviously like anime and manga, or a bunch of people jumping on the bandwagon because that's the new hot thing.
Yeah, or literally, like you said, right? They just grew up watching it as Saturday morning cartoons, right? There's loads of people in the NBA and the NFL, a lot of different like sports leagues that just love Naruto.
Yeah,
love Bleach, love Hunter x Hunter.
So Will told me about this guy who is an MMA fighter. What's his name?
Israel Adesanya.
And he's pretty good, right?
He's very good. He's the current middleweight champion of the UFC. Was trying to get the light heavyweight title, but he's not quite ready for that yet. But he's out of New Zealand. Dude's a baller.
Wait, didn't we watch that one match? Was it that one?
When he was up against Anderson Silva. Where he does the Rock Lee Gara pose.
No,
right?
yeah. But what about the one that got disqualified?
Oh, that was the other one where that was for the light heavyweight title for himself. He didn't end up winning that one, but he was still gracious in defeat. So
that was tragic. But anyways, this guy here is how fond of Naruto he is. Will, would you share with the viewers? Listeners.
He's got the Nine Tails seal on his stomach the same way that Naruto has.
So
the full seal.
It is huge.
Yeah.
In the manga, and
literally from the bottom of his rib cage down to like literally where his groin.
Yeah. And it's like a spiral with like it looks like a sun.
Yeah.
But it has like inscriptions and everything. It's very, very intricate. And then you have things like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Kanye West loves anime.
Kanye West likes Akira to the point where one of his songs, Stronger, features heavily references to Akira the movie.
Samuel L. Jackson.
I mean, he was an Afro Samurai.
He's freaking Afro Samurai.
Yeah.
And also, I love the fact that one of his favorite anime series of all time is Black Lagoon.
Right. What about we talked about this earlier at the break. Paramore.
Oh, Haley Williams.
Paramore being the rock band.
Yep. Yeah. This young woman from Mississippi.
Yeah.
In America. Oh man.
Wait, what is her favorite?
She loves Blood, the Last Vampire.
Oh, that's so dope. To the point where she wore.
She cosplayed it for one of her concerts.
Yeah, like that's insane. That our parents' generation, like it would not happen.
Even like that Russian ice skater, Evgenia Medvedeva, this Russian ice skater. She cosplayed as Sailor Moon for one of her competitions.
I mean, Yuri on Ice about ice skating. There was a Japanese figure skater that would then, do the performance of Yuri on Ice, but in real life. Evangelion, was it Cruel Angel Thesis? That theme song is a lot of people love not only the series Evangelion, but that song, and they don't even know what it means, as in like the lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, like if you want to talk about the late and greats, Robin Williams, Evangelion was one of his favorites.
Yeah. So like there is like what other we name dropped like so many during our break.
Well, Ariana Grande loves Spirited Away. She has a tattoo of the character on her body.
Yeah, so it is the proliferation of anime is only going to get wider because anime industry is growing. I think it is not stagnant. It is only going to get bigger. More people will grow up with it to the point where it just becomes a natural everyday occurrence, not only in Hong Kong or in Asia, but definitely more accepted in the West. There are conventions. There's the Crunchyroll Expo. The fact that Crunchyroll has so many, like 3 million paid subscribers. All of this is to say that anime will only get larger as an industry. The community will only grow bigger, and the stigmatization or like the negative connotations associated with being a weeb or being into anime and manga, visual novels, and all that will only decrease and be more widely accepted as we grow older.
We also say like the stigmatization of it also comes to the fact, you're a grown ass man, you're watching cartoons, blah blah blah. It's like, well, I mean, there's loads of cartoons now that are geared towards adults, like Rick and Morty, BoJack
absolutely.
Horseman,
South Park. South Park was like what 17
seasons
seasons or crazy amounts of seasons.
Still running. Bob's Burgers,
Family Guy,
American Dad. A lot of people watch cartoons now.
Archer, we can't forget Archer.
Yeah, we talked about Archer just now. Yeah. God bless Jessica. Yep. Rest in peace. So, look, I think it's just up and up from here. Whether or not you do come across people who hate on that shit, sooner or later, they're going to turn. They're going to change. And if they...
one of us.
Gooble, gobble. And hey, look. If they still hate on it, maybe they're racist.
Oh, really?
I'm saying it right now.
That's what you're going for?
I'm just going to say it there. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So, like,
if you don't like anime, you're a fucking racist.
Jesus.
I'm joking. No. But really, check it out. Stop the hate. Come on.
Hey, 100 million households of Netflix watched one anime series.
I think it's 73 million users between the U.S. and Canada. So that's a large percentage of American households, right? If you want to try
and
to
if you're
break that
willing
down.
to give it a try, hey, you know what? That's fine. So then you understand a little bit of this not niche thing, not that niche thing anymore.
Yeah.
You might even be like, oh, okay, so you're into that. Hey, cool. I'm into this other thing, but hey, no problem.
It's like this. Like, take away the whole cartoon anime thing. Just say, hey, what do you like? Do you like thrillers? Do you like supernatural stuff? Do you like romance? Well, maybe you might want to check out this anime or check out that movie.
I mean, Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, or when even my parents were children and they were reading comics, it had this taboo, nerdish, geekish, negative connotation that you have no social life, that your brains and your obsession with superheroes is fantastical and not reality-based.
In a way similar to video games, too, right?
Yeah.
Look how far video games go now.
And look how far Marvel Comics is. Yeah. The fact that you can say Star Wars, and not only would people know exactly what you say, they will vibe with it and be like, yeah, that is dope.
You know, before Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man wasn't even that popular, and now it's like the most well-known out of the whole Marvel universe.
Right. So, similar with comic books, anime has already far reached like steps up to be regarded as a medium that can stand within its own.
Oh, it's high and above a lot of things now. It's almost in the stratosphere. It's just rocket fuel straight to the moon.
And it's going to go even higher.
So yeah, I'm ready for war. And as we talked about earlier in our podcast, today's episode, there's a lot of good stuff coming up, and it sucks we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
let's try and crush some more anime.
Yeah, not only that, but I think this topic is really interesting, and it is only going to get more interesting as things go on.
Yeah, look, if you like anime, like, don't really care about what other people say. Don't listen to it. Just enjoy what you enjoy. Like, don't let anybody tell you
what you do,
it.
man.
Exactly.
But I think
unless someone tells you to play a visual novel, then hey, we may need to talk.
You just nod your head and walk the other way and block and delete their contact.
And find the manga or anime adaptation of the visual novel and do that instead.
Exactly. There you go. That's what we're saying.
We're going to sign off with that comment.
Yep. So I think that is near the end of our episode. I am going to then have some housekeeping stuff. So then you can always reach us through our email, gapalette@gmail.com, gapalette@gmail.com. You can reach us on Twitter @palettegood, or through our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/palettegood, capital P and capital G. You could visit our website, www.goodanimepalette.com, and you can join us on Discord. We would love to have one of you guys, some of you guys, all of you guys on our Discord server, just so you can chat. Hey, maybe we could watch anime together, read manga together. Maybe you want to tell us, yes, this is right, this is wrong, or even suggest certain things. We just want to, be engaged with everyone and just see what's up.
Look, if it's easy to get, once Demon Slayer comes out on Blu-ray, or you can stream it, we can do a viewing session. We can do a Heaven's Feel session. We can do a Violet Evergarden session. Whatever you want to watch, whatever you like, we can talk about it, watch it, as long as we all enjoy anime together.
Yeah, that's all. That's what we're here that's what we're all about, right?
Yep.
So, music credits. Our intro music is Green Lights by Jahzzar. Our break music is Min 2019 by minwbu. Our outro music is What You Thinking, the instrumental version by Wataboy. You could find our intro music at thefreemusicarchive.org. You could find our break and outro music at pixabay.com. So, I think that covers all of it. Will, any closing thoughts? Any last minute things you want to share before we head off? Or we sign off, really? Yeah?
I think we should all take a moment and think about whether we should do a domestic girlfriend group session.
Okay. So, actually, we kind of already did.
Yes.
Because Will and I and two other friends who were meeting tonight for dinner watched the first uncensored episode of Domestic Girlfriend. And to just give you an idea of my affinity with Will and his with me, we both thought it was trashy and disgusting, but we loved it.
And the other two had the gall to talk shit about it, but say good things about Rent-A-Girlfriend.
Yeah, fuck Rent-A-Girlfriend.
That was way worse.
Yeah, they really liked it,
dude. That's literally like, hey, you like incels, you like incel culture,
you like simping.
Yeah. Hey, this is Rent-A-Girlfriend. Monkey brain incel.
Hey, this is the same person that liked ReZero. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is the same person that like Made in Abyss.
Well, okay, there's no simping or incels, and actually, I don't know.
No. There's lollies though.
I'll simp for Kevin Penkin if that's what you're alluding to.
Dude, I would simp so hard for Kevin Penkin.
Yeah, well, I simp for Kevin Penkin.
Yeah. So, a moral of the episop, we
simp for Kevin Penkin.
Jason and Will would simp hard for Kevin Penkin. Mr. Penkin.
Please, if you're listening to this, give us your Patreon, give us your OnlyFans. We will subscribe immediately.
Oh my god.
And that is it for today. Thank you very much for listening. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Okay, God. Okay. Oh God. All right. Let's end this.